Good morning. It is Monday. We are going to start another reading vlog. And this one's going to go Monday to Monday because I was a little late on my last one. This is actually my daughter's bat mug with my coffee in it. I have a little bit before I have to go get ready for work, get dinner going for tonight, or get a plan together for dinner. So I thought I would just go over this stack of books I have next to me because I have 2 books left on my September TBR and I feel myself approaching a book slump, a reading slump. I have zero desire to read basically any of those, well, the 2 that are left. I've DNF'd 2 last week. And so I'm feeling like I just need to give myself some grace and read what I want this week. Just really take some time, see if that boosts my reading. I only read 1 book last week. Granted, it was a 700-page book, but I only completed 1 book last week, which was really unusual for me. So yeah, let's go over the stack of books I have here, and I'm gonna pick one to read. I have to put my coffee down. I have 7 books in front of me, and we are going to, I don't know, usually by like talking about them, I can better narrow down. I will say I have my eye on one of them more than the others, and we'll see after talking about them if that's the one we end up choosing. So we're going to start it with Deadlands. This is Savage Lands book 3 by Stacey Marie Brown. This is following Brexley, and primarily Brexley. She is the main character. She's gone into this Fae prison. She's had to survive. Some things have happened. This is book 3, so there's not much I can talk about, but this would be continuing a series that I have enjoyed. I've enjoyed this. There have been, the end of book 1 and book 2 have left me being like, why? So maybe we'll get some answers in book 3. So this is an option. The next option for this week is Glint. So this is book 2 in the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. I absolutely loved book 1, and I just read it in September, so this would be a pretty quick move on continuing a series for me, because typically I'm kind of slow moving through series. So this is an option. Next that I am looking at is Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is the book 2 of the Rose Hill series. I think this is a single dad romance, which I typically eat up, those kinds of tropes. So this follows Wes and Skylar, I believe. And I don't know much else about it. I believe Skylar's a singer. She's like a famous singer. And Wes works at the Rose Hill Productions, which was started in Wild Love, which was the first book. So anyway, this looks intriguing, and I am, this is an option for this week. Next one it's the second in a duology. It's Two Twisted Crowns. I absolutely loved One Dark Window. loved it. I thought it was so good. Totally gave me Venom vibes, and I love that. This would be finishing that. So that would be like finishing the duology, which would be, I believe it's only a duology. I could be wrong, but as of right now, this would be finishing the duology. And I find that very appealing to my goal-oriented brain. These are all kind of like chunkier books, but anyhow, this is another option. There are only 3 more options, okay? Stick with me. Next, we have Nightbane, which is the second book to Lightlark, and Skyshade, I don't believe I have yet. I think it's coming out in November. I could be wrong, but October or November. So again, I have a lot of series continuations. We're looking at a lot of series continuations, actually. I think all of these have been so far. Again, I can't really say much about it because it's the second in a series. If you know anything about Lightlark, it is kind of a competition-based throne succession situation. I think they're YA fantasy, but I could be wrong. They could be adult or new adult fantasy, but I started this, I got like 1 chapter in and just wasn't feeling it at the moment, so I could continue this. This next one is called The Inheritance. It is an inspirational, like, women of faith fiction. This is about a gal named McKenna who she has basically custody of her younger brothers, and she ends up, I'll just read the back of it. Determined to tame her younger brother's rebellious streak, McKenna Ashford accepts her cousin's invitation to move west and begin again. But she quickly discovers that life in Copper Creek, Colorado is far from what she expected. Shouldering burdens beyond her years, McKenna tries to be the parent Robert needs instead of the older sister he resents. But an untimely inheritance challenges her resolve at every turn, while also offering a second chance to restore her trust and perhaps even her heart. U.S. Marshal Wyatt Carradon is dedicated to bringing fugitives to justice, but years of living on the trail have taken their toll. When his path intersects with that of McKenna, he comes face to face with a past he never wanted to relive, and the one woman who can help him find the future he's been longing for. As McKenna struggles to let go of her independence and Wyatt considers opening his heart again, they discover an inheritance beyond imagination, but it will come at a price. So this one is a standalone Western romance. And then lastly, we have The Au Pair Fair by Tessa Bailey. This is the 3rd book in her no, I don't know. I think you meet, I'm getting my, hold on. Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. Okay. This is kind of a second and interconnected standalone. I recently read Fangirl Down and really loved Tessa Bailey's writing. Really loved that book. In that book, we meet Tallulah, who is Belle's friend. Yeah, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Anyhow, doesn't matter. We meet Tallulah in that book, and we also meet, what is his name? Burgess in that book too. And when I read that book, I was hotly anticipating this book coming out because the setup for these two was really good. It left me wanting more. So those are our options that I just grabbed off my shelf. I just basically mood grabbed them. And the one that I think that I'm going to go with after talking about them all, upside down, I think I'm going to go with The Inheritance. I have been eyeing this for a while. I love that it's like this sweet, clean, inspirational romance. I love all of these books, and we're going to keep these out as options for this reading vlog going forward in the week. But I think we are going to start with The Inheritance. So, The Inheritance by Tamara Alexander is going to be read, and we'll see how we do. Hello. I am, wow. Boop. Hello. I am currently 145-ish pages, I guess, into this book. And I can say that I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving McKenna as a main character. She's our main female character in this book. And the writing is very good, but easy to read, easy to consume. Unlike some other like Christian fiction books, this one still deals with like some heavy topics, doesn't shy away from them. It just doesn't go into great detail about those topics. So it's like really well written the way it's implied and talked about, but not gone into detail about. I feel like I said that twice, but so far, my impressions of this are great. We're following McKenna and her brother Robert, who move from the east out to the west, to Colorado. And they are moving after some struggles that have gone on with her brother. And they're on their way to meet up with her cousin, who is more like a sister to her. And when they get to the town, it's Cold Springs, Colorado, I believe. Or, I'm sorry, Copper Creek, Colorado. My bad. When they get to Copper Creek, Colorado, literally nothing is as it was supposed to be, and nothing is as it seems. So they're trying to navigate this huge life change of just like moving from the east to the west, on top of some things that get thrown at them when they arrive in Copper Creek. And a chance meeting with a U.S. Marshal named Wyatt Carradon kind of sets some things into play. And so right now we're getting the two points of views from McKenna and from Wyatt, and they're still kind of just helicoptering each other. We're still trying to figure out where this is gonna go fully. But yeah, I am really enjoying it so far in this book. Almost 50% of the way, well, I don't know, maybe like 40% of the way through. I'm really, really liking this. And I'm glad that this is the one that I chose to read to kind of stave off the slump and to kind of cleanse my palate. So I will let you know when I'm all done with this, what I think. Hello. It is Tuesday morning, and we have reached the end of The Inheritance by Tamara Alexander. And I have to say, this was so sweet. It was so wholesome and wonderful, while also like touching on some pretty heavy topics. This was a unique approach to this kind of book. So faith-based, while faith-based, like historical Western romance. I really, really liked it. I will probably settle on 4 stars for this one. I hadn't really thought about it until just now, but that feels pretty good. It's definitely above average for me, but it's not, wasn't like the greatest thing I ever read. This writer has an excellent writing style. The pace of this book was like perfect. The plot and the setting was really, like it felt very real. There was nothing in this setting that made me think that that the author hadn't done research or things like that. So I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the slow burn romance portion of it. I enjoyed the mystery that you kind of get with the U.S. Marshal and kind of his job and what's happening in that realm and how all the little strings kind of come together in the end. So, yeah, excellent book. Highly recommend if you are looking for something that is low spice, but still very entertaining and engaging. So these are the books that we had kind of pulled this week for possible options for this vlog. I think of these, we have like a fantasy romance, fantasy, single dad, like a dystopian, dark, it's not even really a romance, it's like a fantasy. It's very interesting. YA fantasy, and then another single dad romance. Interesting. Looking at this stack, so I don't drop it, I am feeling the most called towards Wild Eyes. So for this vlog this week, we're going to continue with Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. Hello. I am about 120 pages into Wild Eyes, and I can definitively say that I am loving this book. I am eating it up. I love Skylar, our female main character. She is so down to earth and so sweet, and just the things that she's walked through in her life could have shaped her into just a really hard person, but she's so genuine and just like beautiful. Weston, our main male character, is like my type of dude. This Elsie Silver wrote my like dream guy into Weston. He's masculine, he's sweet, he's like such an amazing dad, but things just kind of roll off his back. He takes seriously what needs to be taken seriously, and he just completely like leaves the rest. And I love that. I love that in him. So far we've met Emmy, Weston's daughter, and Oliver, Weston's son, and I think they're just the most adorable kids ever. And the way that Weston's character describes Emmeline, his daughter, is just like, it's so cute. And also how I would describe my boys. It's so sweet. So this is gearing up to be a very like delightful read for me, and possibly a higher rated book. We'll see. But Tuesday evening, we're at, about a quarter of a way through, maybe. We'll see. Happy Thursday. I am here to update that I finished Wild Eyes last night, and I loved this book. I loved this book. I enjoyed Wild Love. I'm pretty sure is what it's called. The first one in this series. And Elsie Silver did not disappoint with Wild Ice. I am pretty sure that West and Skylar are my new favorite book couple. I loved West. I loved how vulnerable and funny, but also masculine and tough he could be. And I loved that Skylar never shied away from being vulnerable, showing who she really was, learning who she really was. So this was truly a book where I felt like I could learn something from the main characters. And I super appreciated that, along with an adorable family that is represented in this, and the power of just love. I thought it was very good. And I was inaccurate when I gave my presumed synopsis or presumed, thoughts on what this book was about in the beginning. West actually does not have anything to do with the Rose Hill Records. It's his sister Rosie who was featured in Wild Love with Ford. They run Rose Hill Records. So yeah, very cute, very sweet. I just eat Elsie Silver's writing so fast. It is so consumable and so good. So I gave Wild Eyes 4 stars. I thought this was a beautiful representation of what a blended family could look like, how we can change who we are, and how love is just so powerful. So, Wild Eyes. Finished. I went ahead and chose Reign of Night by Sarah C. Russell. Correct me if that's inaccurate. This is a vampire hunter fantasy romance. I really was looking for something that just shifted from what I had been reading previously this week. So both of the books that I read this week one was an inspirational, like a Christian fiction romance, very sweet, very clean. And then I moved into Wild Eyes, which was a little spicier, but still super sweet, super pretty clean romance. It was again a Western romance, actually. And I just, while wanting to carry through with the ease of reading a romance, I kind of wanted something just that veered off the track that I'd been reading a little bit. So, vampire hunter romance. I think I'm only, 40 some odd pages through, maybe. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So we're going to get into that a little deeper. Again, I'm only, I think, 40 something pages in from last night, and we're going to see how that goes. Hello. It is kind of late on Thursday night, but I'm here to tell you that I am just over 100 pages into Reign of Night. And I'm really enjoying this book. I am so pleasantly surprised by where we're going. If you don't know what this book is about, and if I didn't explain it earlier, this is a vampire hunter. Lysandra is our main character. And yes, she is in an order of vampire hunters. And she is looking for an ancient vampire who tied her to him in some fashion, and her whole entire being is at this point is centered around finding this vampire and exterminating him. So where we're at in the story, we've had just a little bit of like a boop, plot twist. And yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see where this story is going. I'm really, really loving this author's writing. I can't remember exactly what her name is. I'll try to pop it somewhere on the screen, but I'm really enjoying her writing. It's very easily consumable. It's very, it feels like a real quick read. And I'm so grateful for the Goodreads that I've had this week, because they've really helped kind of just pull me out of that potential slump that I was getting ready to fall into after last week and the 2 DNFs that I had. So, yeah, I'm enjoying this book. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't really wait to see where it takes us from here. So I'll try to update you a little bit more, or I may finish the book and come back and let you know how I liked it. But this is shaping up to be a very positive reading experience for me. So. It is Friday night, and I just finished Reign of Night. I really liked this book. I gave it a very average 3-star rating. There were a couple of parts in it where it felt like maybe the editing hadn't gone, maybe it hadn't gone through a whole full round of editing. There was a little bit of like repetition. Just like twice through the book. But I really enjoyed Lysandra, our female main character, and I really liked Asher, who is our main male character. Lysandra is a vampire hunter and Asher is a vampire. This is a super, super slow burn, like super slow burn fantasy romance. There is basically, if what you're going into is, if you're going into this book with the idea that there's going to be some spice in it, there's really not at all. And I appreciated that. We got a lot of world building. We got a really cool plot line and some mystery and intrigue. And I just really had a great time with this story. I've been very generous with my 4-star ratings lately, and going up against some of the other books that I've rated 4 stars in this week, it wasn't a 4-star book. It was definitely a 3-star book in my rating system. So very average, very good. I liked it a ton. So with that, I am starting a 48-hour reading challenge from Friday night through Sunday night. And I've already picked my next book for that, which is going to be Don't Hex and Drive by Juliet Cross, which means there's going to be a little bit of crossover in this, from this video and that video, because you're going to get to hear more in-depth thoughts on this as I read it versus over there, I will have just read it. So I will have read it and not really given a ton of thoughts on it. Just like, hey, I read this. Now we're moving on to a new book. So I'm excited to get into this. And this will be our 4th book this week. And with this 48-hour reading challenge, we could read a lot. We could get a lot read. So without further ado, let's go into Don't Hex and Drive. Okay, you guys, I just finished Don't Hex and Drive by Juliet Cross. This is super adorable. I loved everything about this. I really enjoyed Isadora and Devraj, who are our two main characters in this book. So this is the second in the Stay a Spell series. There's 6 books. It follows 6 Savoy sisters. They're all witches with various different gifts. And in this, Isadora is quite literally hit while she's riding her bike by Devraj, who's driving a car. And it kind of just goes from there. He's what's called a Stygorn, which is kind of like a vampire sheriff for the supernatural community. It's kind of how I would relate it. She ends up helping him on a case that he's working in New Orleans where she lives. And yeah, some cute romance ensues. I'm really learning that I love Juliet Cross's writing. Like, she has this way of just kind of hooking you, gripping you, getting right to the story. There's like world building and plot building that happens, but it happens so seamlessly within the text that you don't feel like, I never felt bored for a minute in this book. So I really, really liked it. This was a 4-star read for me, which I feel like coming off a week of 2 DNFs, this week it's like 4-star, 4-star, 3-star, 4-star. We're picking some good books. I love it. So, because I am in the middle of a readathon, like reading challenge that I am doing this weekend, I've already picked the book that we're going into next. The Mini Star Hop game picked it. And it is going to be Curse of the Wolf King. This is an Entangled with the Fae story, or Beauty and the Beast retelling, part of the Entangled with the Fae series by Tassanja Odette. So I am super excited to get into this one and see what it's all about. So yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. Just finished Curse of the Wolf King, and this was a really good book. It was a delightfully average kind of fantasy romance, little bit pretty slow burn, and with some, steamy parts near the end of the book. I really enjoyed our main characters, Gemma and Elliot. I really enjoyed the way that the writer was able to kind of tie in the Beauty and the Beast elements without it being the entire story. So it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but there's also unique parts and unique characters to this book specific to this book. So I really enjoyed that. The setting was really like atmospheric, and it just was a really good read. I really, really liked it. Because we're in the middle of this challenge, I've already kind of played the game to see what our next book is going to be, and we are going to jump into Coraline. So this is kind of a smaller work by Neil Gaiman. It on Goodreads, the tags are like fantasy, young adult, and middle grade. So I'm not I'm thinking it's more middle grade just because of the way that it's formatted inside the book. The pages, there's not like there's a lot of spacing and wide margins, and typically that's what you get more from like middle grade books. So, yeah, we're going to try this. I have not had great success with Neil Gaiman books in the past. In fact, I haven't particularly liked the books that I've read from Neil Gaiman in the past. But we're going to try this. This is one of my daughter's favorite works. I don't know that she's actually ever read the book. I know that she's seen the movie. So, we have our ambiance. And we're going to continue our reading challenge, and we are just gonna keep plunking away. This will be the third book in the last 24 hours, which is really cool. Anyhow, I'll let you know what I'm thinking about this. We finished Coraline. This was a creepy book. Very, very creepy. There were parts of this where I was like, I can't believe that's a middle grade, but then Harry Potter came out when I was in middle school. So I read them. So, I mean, this is about Coraline, whose family moves into a new house, and there is a mysterious door that has a brick wall behind it. It's almost like a reverse Narnia kind of thing, or like similar, like a dark Narnia, I guess I should say, only it's not like a whole world that this girl goes into. It's like a parallel, like an upside down version of her house and her family. So she ends up having to fight this creature that is trying to overwhelm her. For it being so creepy, I will say that it is a great narrative on facing fear, how to stay mindful in the face of fear, and being brave, like doing things afraid. And so that is a very positive spin on this book. I think this is probably a 3-star book for me. It's not my favorite, but I can't fault the writing or anything. The content of the book just isn't my favorite. So, yeah, I think it's definitely a 3-star book for me. With that being said, as part of the reading challenge that I am doing this weekend, we have picked our other book. It is going to be Infinity Blade Awakening by Brandon Sanderson. The prompt that I pulled for the game was an audiobook. And so this is what I had in my library, and it's very reasonably it's like a reasonably timed book because I have at least one more roll for my game, and I do want to sleep tonight, and I do have church tomorrow. That is a large chunk of my day. So this feels doable, and hopefully the prompt that we get, or hopefully it'll just be one last roll tomorrow, and with the free space I can pick whatever I want. So okay, I am done with all that. So we are going to move into Infinity Blade Awakening by Brandon Sanderson. You guys, we finished Infinity Blade Awakening, which it was very good. 3 stars. It's a Brandon Sanderson, so it's pretty rich with it's pretty rich in the fantasy department. It follows Cyrus, who he was basically born to be a sacrifice to the God Kings, and he goes to his destiny, and he actually defeats the God King. And then when he comes back, there's some things that are not as they should be, or not quite as it seems. So he goes on a quest and picks up a thief / assassin along the way to be his companion, and some other things happen. This is a quick, like 5-hour audiobook. I have not found it paperback or Kindle Unlimited or like audio. I've not found it on ebook or in physical form, but I did listen to it as the audiobook. So very quick read, very nice. I liked it. The next book we're going into, though, for this week, this has been like the wildest weekly vlog, because we're also doing this reading challenge for the weekend, and it's wild. So I've already picked the next book. The next book is going to be Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I am a little afraid to start this book, not gonna lie, but I have faith that it will be good. I'm giving Alice Hoffman a second chance. If I don't like this book, then it's Alice Hoffman's writing, and I just can't do it. So at least at this point in my life, I'm like, not for me. So we'll try this one and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I like it. All right. I have about 12 hours left of this reading challenge and some things to do today. We have church and a potluck after church. And so really it kind of makes it to where I have like 6 hours, maybe 5 hours by the time everything's all said and done. So I will see you back here. Hello. I am just a little over halfway through Practical Magic, and I wanted to just kind of hop on for a quick update. I am enjoying this. I was really nervous because the first Alice Hoffman book that I ever read, it was a no-go for me. And so when I picked up Practical Magic, I was nervous about it. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. It's laid out super weird. For me, I think it's super weird. It's probably not weird at all. But it's laid out into 4-part chunks. There are no chapters. It's just like, 50 some odd pages of run-on text in between each of these parts. But it's working. I'm enjoying it. So, it's a little it's a little darker than even the movie. So there's a lot more foul language, which I don't know why I find that surprising. I guess I just do. And some pretty adult themes, some heavier topics are discussed in this. So right now we are pretty much smack dab in the middle. So I am reading this for a reading challenge, so I'll finish it in the next 3 hours when I need to be done. But yeah, first impression, enjoying this, liking the writing. Alice Hoffman is redeeming herself for me from the first book that I read, which was The Invisible Hour, which was one of the worst in my opinion, it was one of my worst reads of the year last year. I was so frustrated by that book. Anyway, I won't get into it here, but yes, enjoying it. My cat, I don't know what she's doing. Enjoying it and really looking forward to the conclusion of this one. So I'll see you back here in a little bit. What a way to end this reading vlog. We finished Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. Here's the deal. Alice Hoffman redeemed herself with me with this book. I thought the formatting of it was kind of a little funky, but it just it actually worked for this book, to be honest, but so good. This is one where I can say that the movie adaptation and the book really do kind of hold up to each other. They're both very, very good. If you don't know about this book follows Sally and Jillian Owens, who are sisters, who were orphaned when they're very young, and they go to live with their kind of kooky, witchy aunts in Massachusetts. Sally has always been very stable. Jillian has always been very wild, and that kind of just follows them in life. So Sally, being the stable one, gets married, has 2 daughters, while Jillian kind of lives this crazy, wild, tumultuous relationship with many dudes kind of life. So one day Jillian ends up on Sally's doorstep in a little bit of trouble. And the book pretty much, is all about them figuring out how to solve this problem and continue on with their life. So this was 3 stars for me. Very good. And, very good and average. A 3-star book. I'm happy that I finally knocked it off my to-do list and my TBR. So feel very, very good about this. And this book is the conclusion. It is the last book we'll read in this reading vlog for this week. I am trying to remember how many books and what books we read. Okay, let's talk about what we accomplished this week, because when I tell you it was a big reading week, I mean it was a big reading week. So we started this week off with The Inheritance by Tamara Alexander. After that, we went into Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. After Wild Eyes, we went into Reign of Night by, I can't remember. It'll be up here. After Reign of Night, we started our 48-hour reading challenge for the weekend. And I didn't talk about that much in this vlog because there's a whole other vlog coming out for that, but I will go over the books that we read for that and completed for that because it's quite an accomplishment if I say so myself. So to start that reading challenge off, we read Don't Hex and Drive by Juliet Cross. After that, on the Kindle, we went into Curse of the Wolf King by... I said her name wrong last time. Tessania Odette, I believe is what it is. It'll be up here. After that, we went into Coraline by Neil Gaiman. After Coraline, we ended up listening to the audiobook of Infinity Blade Awakening by Brandon Sanderson. Lastly, we finished with Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman, which I just talked about at the beginning of this. That was the last book for this week. Just so we can be clear, that was 1, 2, 3, here's my Kindle, 4, 5, an audiobook, which was 6, 7 books this week. That's bananas. That's like a book a day. That's wild. If you break it down average wise, when really most of these were read in 48 hours. That's incredible. I am so pleased with myself. So, so pleased. So, well done. Well done. I feel so good, especially since tomorrow is the first day of fall term for me, which means my reading life could narrow quite a bit. I have a pretty big class load coming up for myself, but we did good, and I feel so good about this. Thanks for sticking it out with me, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.